Hello, everybody, and welcome back to your social media compass. My name is Jaclyn Baker, and I'm very excited to be joined with Miss Jasmine Jex. How are you today?
I'm good. Thanks so much for having me on, Jaclyn.
Of course, my pleasure. So tell us, who are you? What do you do? All the good stuff.
Well, I'm the co-founder of Oko Strategy. My co-founder, Devin, and I founded Oko 3 years ago now. And at this stage at Oko, we offer a wide range of branding and marketing services to clients across also a wide range of industries. So everything from fashion and beauty to finance and tech and lots in between as well.
I love that. How did you get started in that?
We actually got started as a side hustle. So I was working on a clothing rental platform and had raised capital and was getting started with that. And then COVID hit and I had to put the whole project on pause. And when we, didn't know how long COVID would last or what that would all look like, I got to brainstorming with Devin, who had been a friend of mine for many years prior to Oko. And we decided to start with some freelance social media management. And then from there, Oko just really grew into something that we didn't initially expect, actually.
Yeah, so you and I are super similar in that regard. And it's so interesting how we can go into something and just have no idea like if it'll be successful, but just doing what you can to get there.
Yeah, and I think that sometimes businesses that are born more organically can kind of be a blessing because it's, you're following your more innate interests and passions. I feel like when you view it as maybe something temporary or a side hustle, it feels like genuine to you and you looking to genuinely support the businesses around you. Whereas sometimes when you go in with this full-fledged business plan, the vision can be so blue sky from the beginning. And I think that there's definitely a benefit to that, but then there also can be a benefit to having a more organic start too. I've definitely started different ventures in different ways. And I feel like, there's beauty in both of them, but I love the way that Oko came to be.
Yeah, because I feel like any initiative has such a strong ability to take off. It just depends like how your game plan is going. Like for this podcast, for example, this is super new and I'm kind of just going with the flow, seeing what happens.
Yeah, that's so exciting. I actually launched my podcast a couple of months ago now as well. And I feel like I'm really focusing on viewing it as something that I want to be enjoyable for myself and for my guests and not put too much pressure on it. And I feel like that has made it so enjoyable and fun for everyone involved. It's so exciting that you're starting yours too. How have you been finding it so far?
Yeah, I feel like we're literally the same person because I started mine not long ago as well. And so far, it's been great. I've had awesome feedback from everyone who has been a guest. So I was very pleasantly surprised about that. Like people were super eager to come on. So I was so happy. I was afraid I'd have to like really, convince people, if you will. But they're like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I feel like, being asked to be on a podcast is so flattering. I was flattered when you asked me. And so, thankfully, a lot of guests have been interested in mine as well. So it's been, really fun so far.
Good. Remind me, what is your podcast called?
My podcast is called Take On.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I'm going to have to check that out as soon as we hang up.
Yes, please do. Yeah, I focus on interviewing business owners and creatives and talk about their journey and their businesses or their creative endeavors. And then as well, I do some solo episodes too, which has been fun.
Are we the same person? What is happening?
Very aligned. I love it.
I know. And you're also Canadian. You're in Vancouver though, correct?
Yeah. So I was born in Vancouver. I moved to New York when I was 4. And then I just moved back to Vancouver about 7 years ago. And I use it as a home base, but I travel for a large portion of the year as well.
Amazing. Yeah. I'm not so travel experienced in that regard. I don't travel that often, but I would really like to.
Yeah, it's fun. I feel like for Oko, a big part of our mission is understanding not just different industries, but different niches within different industries and different cultural niches. And I feel like traveling really helps me tap into that. So I love having travel as part of my day-to-day as well.
Amazing. What social media platform are you most active on, and how does it help you get clients?
I would say that I hate to admit it, but we haven't been as active with Oko's marketing as we would advise a client to be. Our business has grown primarily through referral partners in the past few years, and we've kind of been in the thick of client work and operations. But in the past few months, we've turned our attention back to Oko's business development and marketing. So you can expect more content from us on LinkedIn, Instagram, X, and TikTok. And then I'm also focusing more on leveraging my personal thought leadership to benefit Oko, which is where my podcast comes in, as well as my personal channels. I have historically focused most on Instagram, but I am focusing on TikTok now as well. And my handle is just Jasmine Jex across the board.
Awesome. Yeah, because I found you on LinkedIn, I think maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I thought you were doing very well, like on your personal page.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. What is your favorite social media platform, would you say?
Favorite, I would say TikTok. I like the authenticity of TikTok. I like that there's so much going on there. I feel like trends move really quickly there, which keeps things interesting. But yeah, I love the authenticity. I feel like Instagram has become more and more curated, which has been making it in a way less appealing to post on because you feel like you need to think out every move you make there. Whereas TikTok, I feel like if I have a thought I want to share or a random piece of content, I feel like I can just throw it up and see what lands. Whereas with Instagram or LinkedIn, I feel like I need to be more strategic behind each post.
I feel that definitely. And then it comes back to like, do you post the day of, or do you post like a week in advance, or plan it a week in advance?
Yeah, exactly. There's so much to consider. I would say that when it comes to Oko's strategies page, we do more content planning. When it comes to my personal, I like to make sure that things are timely, especially when I'm sharing things like events that I'm involved with or, a podcast episode going live, things like that. I want to make sure that I'm really on the pulse when those things are happening. So for that reason, I find myself just posting in the moment more than planning in advance.
Yeah, I feel like I try my best to plan most of the content in advance, but if something does happen last minute, I kind of just accept that and I'll do what I can. Because I never want to feel rushed, but at the same time, sometimes things are a bit more urgent.
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you organize your content? Do you have like a software?
We have tried a lot of softwares, but we have always come back to using Google Drive to organize content. So we use a platform called Air to host all of our content itself, like edited reels, raw footage, etc. And then once it's all in Air, we externally link it within Google Drive, and that's where we'd plan an actual calendar within a Google Doc. And then we just have a template that we use to keep everything consistent across all of our clients.
I use a Google Doc as well. I just make a table that just says, like date, media, caption, approval. So that way I could put everything in there and the client could approve it super easily.
Yeah, I found that with different platforms, there was a learning curve for our clients, which was not something that we wanted to put on them. Whereas mostly everyone is familiar with Google Drive and it's very easy for them to go in and approve or add comments and whatnot. And so we wanted to just take away that learning curve for our clients. And then, of course, platforms prioritize content that is being, edited, posted, etc., directly within the app. So we have our community manager go in each day and actually physically post the content, as opposed to when we were posting it through softwares, we found that it was impacting the performance.
I definitely feel that, like 1,000%. I do basically the same thing once again. Yeah, because some softwares, in my opinion, are a little confusing, and you don't want to make it confusing for your client.
Yeah, absolutely.
There are some softwares that like I've been using for years, and sometimes I still struggle just because they're a bit like tricky, and there's no need.
Yeah, I think that we found that it just made things more clunky, and so many of them would require some aspects of the posting to be done in platform anyways. So for example, if we were, let's say, scheduling a LinkedIn post, but then the tags needed to be added manually within the platform, it feels like there's no sense of using the scheduling tool anyways. If we are needing to go into the platform, we'd rather just plan to have it that way from the get-go in that case.
I agree, because I've scheduled even like for LinkedIn and Instagram and other softwares, and sometimes the tagging gets kind of glitchy.
Yeah, exactly.
What could we expect to see from you in 2025?
In 2025, I think that there will be a lot of transitions within Oko. So we're really seeing a big shift within the marketing industry right now. When we launched during the height of COVID, so many small businesses were just beginning to focus on their digital presence, and often turning to marketing agencies was kind of their first step. Like, they didn't really know where to turn, and a marketing agency felt like the first right place to go. But now, with greater access to information, we're noticing that clients are becoming savvier about agency markups and increasingly opting for freelancers or building in-house teams. So to align with this shift, we're actually rolling out two new businesses called Oko Approved and Oko Assembly. So Oko Approved is a freelancer platform where companies can connect with marketing freelancers that will be carefully vetted by Oko. So similar to Fiverr, but I would say a different skill set of talent and more, strategically vetted by agency founders. And then Oko Assembly, it will be a community and education hub designed for marketing professionals and offering opportunities for networking and ongoing learning. So we're really trying to just meet the industry where it's at. As we're seeing these shifts, we're focusing on being timely and moving with where the agency goes. Of course, Oko's strategy will still very much so exist for clients that do want the traditional agency feel, but we want to also offer more options for the types of clients who are looking to freelancers and bringing people in-house.
That is so exciting, and I'm really excited for you, to be honest. I think that sounds fantastic.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we're really excited for it. It feels really aligned with my ethos as well. Like, I have such a personal focus on supporting and uplifting small businesses, startups, but then also freelancers, entrepreneurs, etc. And it just feels like with having Oko Approved, Oko Assembly, and Oko Strategy, that we can really kind of check the box for all different types of businesses, which is really important to me.
Fantastic. I'm so excited for you. Of
Thank you so much.
course. Do you have any final thoughts, words of wisdom, ideas to share before we start wrapping up?
I would say final thoughts as far as marketing goes is that something that I think so many people forget if they're running their own marketing is that people don't just buy products or services. They want to buy into the story, the emotion, the experience. So I think really keeping this in mind when you're focusing on your marketing and crafting a narrative that resonates with your audience and really highlights brand values and builds trust is so important, and I think largely forgotten these days. I was listening to an interesting podcast with Gary Vaynerchuk the other day, and he was talking about how so often brands are marketing, or people as their personal brands are marketing with their own goals in mind, as opposed to thinking about, what emotion and experience they can provide for the followers and the audience. And that really landed. I think that that's something that everyone should be keeping in mind these days.
Awesome. How can we get in touch with you? What's the best way to connect with you?
You can find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, and TikTok at Jaclyn and Jasmine. And then you can find Oko Strategy on LinkedIn and Instagram at Oko Strategy. And then we'll be announcing as more offerings roll out on both platforms. So you can find those there as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much for chatting with me. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Jaclyn.
Of course. So all of Jasmine's info will be in the show notes below. So be sure to connect with her. I hope you all enjoyed the episode and learned something new. And until next time, I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.